Hello, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Big changes on the horizon of March 2025 to do with your home life, maybe your relationship, and maybe work and pets, but mostly big changes in the home life. What you do in the home, whom you're with in the home, where you live. There's big stuff on the horizon. We have two eclipses this month. One we haven't seen since 2007, which is a total lunar eclipse in the sign with the south node of Virgo, but also we notice that we're in the last eclipse for Aries, finishing up the eclipses of 23, 24, and that can bring major changes into your life connected to romance, sexuality, also changes connected to the lives of your children or your grandchildren. Let's bring into the sky all the stories you need to know as a Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. For your sun sign, I want you to think about matters to do with career. Your moon sign for Sagittarius is your moon is as if it's your home-based matters, and your rising sign can be mostly accurate for most people most of the time because it represents the unique character that you play in this simulation called life. So listen for all three over time. You'll start to identify more with one. I find that my rising sign and sun sign are both equally balanced, that I have true delineations for listening to both of them. My moon sign tends to be more about how I feel. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Lori Lothy, and I'm using the Western Tropical Zodiac whole sign houses. Of course, fixed stars and minor asteroids are part of the regular content I put out on the channel. And I also have a class that I'd like to tell you about. I hope you want to join me. It is going to be fun. And you need to be in this class because there's a Pisces, there's a ton of Venus action for you in a way you haven't seen since 2017, as Venus is spending forever in your Pisces sky. And it's, not as a Pisces rising, as a Sagittarius in your fourth house sky. And that's a really intense energy to do with your home. And so major changes are really afoot. And, with Venus there for a long time during the spring, you're going to really learn a lot about what changes you want to make at a deep level of your soul, because your fourth house is your ancestral patterns and your childhood stuff that you want to shift away from that don't work for you anymore. So come check out my Venus retrograde class, 6 weeks, March 1st to the 12th. The replays are available if you can't make the live calls on Saturday. You can also, we have 3 Q&As from different time zones every second week. So hopefully you can come to a live Q&A with me. We also have a collaging party one weekend. We are also going to have a Facebook group. We're also going to have I probably forgot something, a PDF about your sign. So come join in this fun and exciting class of Venus retrograde. In the description box under the more button, more ... under the title of the video. That's the description box. You'll find out more about how to sign up for that class. It starts March 1st. I may keep the doors open till the end of the first week. Like if you missed the first class, you can still jump in for the next 5 classes. Otherwise, after the 7th of March, the doors are definitely closed. All right, so let's get rolling and talk about you, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and your sky in this month ahead. I'm going to show you the chart. I'm bundled up here in a very damp and cold Vancouver, Canada. That's where your hostess with the mostest is living. And here we have our sky. And hit that like button. Subscribe if you like this content. Thank you. Sagittarius. It is a sky that shows you that one of the biggest things going on here is what we'll call a parade or stellium of planets that are encountering a pileup in your fourth house. And the first week of March, in fact, if I want to move us back a day, it'll be even more intense. The first week of March, you'll see there's a stellium, and it'll be very intense the last week of March as well, especially the 27th when the moon will be there. So all said and done, it means there's a huge... Sorry, I lost the sign. I'll bring us back to your fourth house. Give me a minute. This is called ascensional times. When we spin the wheel, we'll lose things. So this fourth house is going to be very highlighted with Venus also joining in later. It's a lot to do with love in the home, beauty in the home, friendship in the home, decorating the home. But as the first week of March shows up, you'll see the intensity is the fourth house in terms of communicating, in the home, maybe negotiating about the home. And with this whole stellium trining Mars, who's now direct as of February 23rd in Cancer and will be there until mid-April, this is a kind of pileup that often looks like a purchase, buy, or sell of real estate, renegotiation of mortgages, and that kind of thing. Also, separation of spousal assets, including real estate and property. Jupiter in the 7th house says legal contracts regarding home, property, and real estate. And that will be true through till June the 9th, but also with the stellium of energy through until mid-April. So there's a lot going on that you can start feeling to build. Some of you may list a property, put it for sale, buy a property, make an offer on a property, especially the first 3 days of March. Now, on March 1st, 2nd, Jupiter is bringing opportunity. And that's because Jupiter will sextile the sun. And that means in the first 2 to 3 days of March, there is a possibility for you of literally making an offer on a property, having a legal contract that you must sign connected to the home, having some kind of lucky break in your relationship to a spouse or business partner connected to matters in the home. Now, let me also add something else to that. Sorry, I got a rash here, scratching a little eczema spot on my knee, as if you needed to know that. So you might find also that the energy here suggests that, see, I want to go bring you back to how have you been dealing with that Jupiter transit? Like, it can bring a guru into your life. I mean, I always, we're on this culture, we don't think guru, but I have a Sag friend who's in India with a guru right now. He's a Sag sun, because Jupiter means dispeller of darkness, teacher, guru, guide. And in the 7th house, it's often a time, and this guru energy for you Sages began to emerge as a possibility, finding your teacher kind of thing, back last May of 2024, but doesn't expire till June 9th of this year. So in that regard, guru in the home, chance to go visit the home of a guru, those are things in the first 3 days of March. On the other hand, your marriage has had Jupiter. If you have a significant long-term committed love, whether it's legal or not, Jupiter has been in that 7th house. And while we don't mind that, the retrograde can be hard on the relationship, and the retrograde of Jupiter, all right, which was in play from the fall through to about February something or other, can't remember the date, 4th maybe, meant that there was a big testing on that relationship. And now that Jupiter's gone forward, you're basically saying between now and June 9th, is this relationship going to make it or not? And I only bring that up because the opportunity that you need to take actions and decisions on March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd could also be an extension of this relationship challenge. On the 2nd, 3rd or so, Mercury is also joining with Neptune, connected to the North Node. Again, it could be some important insights you have about your childhood, your ancestral patterns, things to do with, what your mother taught you about life, and getting to unhook from that and unhook from the house of the mother in a fated, destined way by understanding yourself better in connection to childhood matters. And this is not just a one and done. Mercury will retrograde back here again later on from Aries. So you're really coming into a next 2-month period where there's a lot of consideration about rethinking your childhood and your ancestral patterns, even your grandparents and your relationship to them, particularly either an elder father or a grandparent. So you're doing a lot of moksha liberation soul work from your childhood during this month of March. On the 5th of March, Mercury will sextile Pluto from the sign of Aries as he moves into Aries. And this is good for your creativity and your leisure and your romance and your pleasure as it connects to travel. So if you are traveling, you could have a new romance start up, especially with Venus here. And if you're not looking for romantic love through travel and journeys or pilgrimages, then you might have some kind of news coming through the sky that's very powerful and transformative to do with online social media, writing projects, educational or travel opportunities, and maybe also romance and children or art and creativity. The sun will trine Mars on the 7th and 8th, and that is a beautiful flow between Mars in your chunky money house. That's why I talked about buying and selling and mortgages and refinances. Mars in that chunky money house flowing to the sun in the house of property, land, and real estate. Again, what are you doing? Are you rearranging your investment monies? Are you changing your financial structures? Are you rethinking your inheritance or your your retirement plan as it connects to growing old. I should have mentioned that. And also your house of home. Your fourth house is the house of death. It's what pertains to the end of your life, your last breath on your deathbed. And it's the midnight hour. And so there's a thinking here that Mars now in direct motion could have you reassess your finances as it pertains to the end of your life and what you wish to create there. And so this kind of energy is very pronounced in your consideration, but in a flowing and opportunity rich way on the 7th and 8th of the month. On a practical note, it could just again be the offer for the property, buying and selling, the transaction, a tax rebate or something like that. On March the 8th to the 14th, you're going to see the sun combine with forces with Saturn, not the best of friends under best of circumstances, but Saturn sheds light on what Saturn is doing in your fourth house. Some Sagittariuses might have noticed depression, anxiety, and melancholy, loneliness and aloneness being a hardship for them in and from their home. Ever since 2023 March, right? And finishing February of 26. But also maybe an old parent, an aging parent in the home, a grandparent. But there's a sense of hardship in the home and home life, domestic life. And what I think about the sun here, and the sun did shine here in the spring of 23 and spring of 24. But what I think about the sun here is the sun is saying to Saturn, we need to shed light on what is the deepest structures of your melancholy, anxiety, anxiousness, aloneness, and loneliness, or fear, whatever you've got going on in the fourth. And, the sun is illuminating that energy and bringing light to something in the most dark part of the sky. This is the midnight hour. And it's not always comfortable to shine a light on the darkness of our midnight hour. You ever wake up at midnight and turn the light on? It's like, my eyes, It's the same feeling in the fourth house. You've got a big light here. It's Pisces season, but normally Pisces season doesn't include a pile up of planets. So the first planet we're really lighting up is Saturn. And Saturn is like, okay, I'm going to get real. This is what's bothering me. So you might be coming into a realistic understanding of why you're so challenged right now in the fourth house. Maybe you don't like your roommate. Maybe you don't like people you're living with. Maybe you feel trapped in your home. Maybe you feel just isolated. And so there's a big new revelation of light here. And because it sextiles Uranus, which is surprises, it can also be very much allowing you to break free and through addiction, self-undoing bad patterns and habits that Uranus is capable of activating from Venus's pleasure-seeking behaviors in the sixth house of, access to the 12. You get some very big karmic breakthroughs, to do with service and debt and karmic debt and busting through and breaking through. In fact, I'm going to say this for Sagittarius because of the moksha fourth and eighth house activations, and the eighth being the house of the most pronounced karma, the debt servicing of karma, the sixth house, the fourth house of family of origin and ancestors, and also liberation. You're coming through a sky as a Sag rising, in particular, sun and moon secondarily, but you all feel it, where you're trying to bust the chains of karmic patterns and habits, addictions and self-undoing that have bound you in this lifetime. And this is the month to break it all free. Mars is the ruler of your house of self-undoing, and he's about busting free and through with support from Uranus. Big ahas, big insights, and big declarations of, now I understand, and now I'm free. And you feel some of this freedom energy building and intensifying and lighting you up the 11th to the 13th of March. On the 15th of March, 14th, 15th time zone dependent, we have an eclipse, total blood moon red eclipse, lunar full moon eclipse. It is in the sign of Virgo, like it was in spring of 2007, similar vibration. You always add time to an eclipse 6 months after to fully show you what it's truly for. What is your Virgo sky? It is your career, reputation, house, and the father and father figures. You might let go of a father comes to an end of life, maybe an elderly father, or just your relationship to that father and releasing it, even if you don't have to release the person still around, releasing the connection in some way, ending the karmic ties to the father. The south node up here helps you let go of old identities to connect it to your career and purpose that no longer suit you. If you have a career path, you may let it go. The full moon reveals when and why that timing is right. If you don't have one, you're retired, you're letting go of the old identity connected to your your old path. And now a lunar eclipse, this big and bold and, intense, right? You can't, ignore a full moon eclipse. That's a total eclipse. Let's put that moon up here. It also is in a trine to Uranus. So there's electric jolts of sudden exciting and surprising change up to a month before and 3 months after, that you could change your home because it's activating the north node in the house of real estate, land, and property. And it's connected to the breaking free of addiction, self-undoing karmic relationships and debts. And so some of you may be breaking free of all of those things, and it can lead to a change in the home, a relocation or move of home. North node sometimes means far off foreign shores and distant people, the foreign places. So some of you may move your home to a foreign place from where you currently live. Also, finally, that full moon eclipse up at the top of the sky, that intensity up there, it does have some broad support from both Mars and Jupiter. And so Jupiter is going to also say blessed endings in your status from married to divorced. And I say that because South Node is in the house of weddings and Jupiter's in the house of marriage. Some of you may decline to be together in the 6 months that follow this with a significant relationship partner, or they decline to be with you, and it changes your public status from married to separated, or etc. Okay, or from employed and in a working career to retiring or something like that. Now, I'll be doing a whole deep dive on this eclipse, so subscribe to the channel because you'll want to know about the stars and the asteroids involved, and that's devil's in the details, so come join into that video. Subscribe and like and hit the notification bell because my video will come out probably in the beginning of March about this amazing eclipse. We're going to break away from the timeline just to remind ourselves of 2 planets retrograde, Venus and Mercury this month. Venus is in the sign of Aries from March 1st, but she retrogrades also March 1st through to April 12th. And we're going to also start off with Mercury, and then we'll go back to the retrograde of Venus. Mercury will retrograde, okay, on the 15th of the month of March, but he started off in Aries on March the 3rd. And that is, again, your children, your creativity, your romance, your sex life. Things were going forward, your entrepreneurial business, you were kind of your joy, your play, things were moving in forward motion. And then suddenly he turns around and says on March 15th, wait a minute, I've got to go backwards to the 4th house. I forgot something. So he turns around March 15th and he's back into your 4th house on March the 30th. And he's there backwards in your 4th house, March 30th to April 7th, picking up something he forgot. What did he forget? Could be very spiritual, could be very much about a memory from your childhood. It could very much be about he forgot something literally at home. He had to go back home and get something. But it's literally a feeling of having to go back inwards to that darkest place of the sky to collect something, so that when he goes forward again on April 7th and then moves back into Aries a bit later, that you can find the true spark of joy in your life, and the true creative spark in your life, and the procreative spark, and the romantic spark, and the wonder and awe and joy of life spark. And Mercury and Venus are trying to help you get that joy spark back, especially Venus. And so don't make any real estate decisions, okay, for buying and selling real estate when he's retrograde, March the 30th to April the 7th. Wait it out. Wait till he goes direct on April 6th, 7th, because otherwise you have to redo the contracts, or there'll be a false start, most likely. Unless it's an offer from the past coming back to your life, like they made an offer, you said no, then the same buyer comes back, fine. Or you made an offer and they said no, and it's a redo of an older transaction. Yes, then March 30th to April 7th, you can engage in those contractual agreements with real estate. Otherwise, no. All right. Venus is going to be in Aries on February the 4th behind us. That is, of course, an important part of your chart. Remember, I said love, play, pleasure, romance. Are you single? You could find your person. Venus will be in the house of romance for a dog's age because of the retrogradation. So February 4th, she's in Aries, and then she has to turn around retrograde on March the 1st at 10 Aries. Between March the 1st and March the 27th, if you have former love relationships that you haven't heard from that former, romantic partner for a while, these people phone you, email, text you, bump into you on the street, suddenly the past loves are coming back. Children who have been estranged return to conversation with you or engagement with you. Again, Venus is going to offer those truths to you when she is going to be March the 1st retrograding from the 10th degree of Aries through until and flowing to your Sagittarius energy in a fire trine, so you don't mind this. And then on the 27th, you're still retrograde of March, but now she's sliding into your 4th house of home and real estate and property. It's the same mechanism that Mercury does. You might have to assess your connection to sexuality, love, and romance through the lens of your childhood. And then people from your childhood can return to you. Family of origin, mom, dad, people you grew up with in your home, suddenly showing up in your life again out of the blue, but you're helping you reassess your childhood, March the 27th to April 12th. You may decorate your home or have an old friend, a female, visit you in the home, March 27th to April 12th. Redecorate the home with Venus retrograde, March 27th to April 12th, is in a way that you have been thinking about for a long time, or returning it to an older way. Like you suddenly remember, I used to love the yellow walls. I'm going to paint them yellow again, that kind of thing. So it's a big deal. April 12th, of course, Venus will station direct. And then, of course, she's going to be going back into your 5th house as we move further down the spring. And you're going to wonder if you want to be in a true love romance. And if you do, then go for it. You're healing a chironic wound in sexuality, love, and romance, and Venus direct here. This is different than 2017 spring to the end of the year. It's not the same. There's a profound March 22nd reboot as Venus and the Sun join together in your 5th house. And we'll be talking about that in great detail in my Venus retrograde class. Now, the next thing I want you to know about is how beautiful the sky looks March 8th to the 14th. I mean, March 14th to the 22nd. On the 19th and 20th, the Sun and Neptune become one. If you've had confusion about your home life, your depression or anxiety there, your melancholy or your straitjacket of loneliness, whatever is holding you back in the 4th house, you're going to see the way through. The burning off of the fog of confusion is what the Sun does here on the 19th and 20th. It's a very mystical, spiritual energy as well. And you can have a very beautiful feeling of spiritual unity around the 19th and 20th. The North Node is destined change down there, and the burning off of the confusion under the light of the Sun in the midnight hour does help you see more clearly what you need to do next in your home life. That's going to bring you a greater sense of dreams come true and dreams realized. On the 21st and 22nd, we'll see that sextile between Pluto and Mercury. Now, Pluto and Mercury together are about power and wealth and transformation, and Mercury and Venus, both, I should start with Venus, are going to sextile Pluto between the 14th and the 24th. And now it's going to start off with the 22nd, 23rd, to 22nd to 23rd, 21st, 22nd, 23rd. We're going to get a lot of Venus action. Venus and Pluto are really very much a wealth yoga, but it can be more than physical wealth, money. It can be the kind of wealth around the 21st, 22nd, 23rd that has to do with the riches of true joy, true fun, true play, and true pleasure. And you may transform a relationship with a sibling, aunt, uncle, cousin, niece, or nephew, or find some kind of transformative love through travel and journeys and trips emerging for you, or a creative project involving writing or social media hitting a new spark for you of intensity and truth and beauty around that time. Then Mercury follows suit on the 24th, 5th, and 6th. So everybody's getting into the mix, right? There's Mercury and Pluto as the Sun and Venus are co-joined. I didn't talk about this in most of my videos because it is the focal point of a whole video, the Venus star point and the retrograde class. But this is where a big reset button occurs in your 5th house, and you begin to see over the next 9 months and you potential for what you want to be as an artist, a creator, an entrepreneur, a mother, a father, a lover. And this could incite a brand new love story for you, healing a wound about sex and love. And with that flow to Jupiter, one that would become a committed love story as well. Now, The last week of March, where we have that last eclipse, also has a couple of Mars Saturn stories that are long-standing. Saturn will be in a long-standing sextile, especially the 24th to the 31st, to the sign from the fourth house to Uranus in Taurus on Algol. I don't know what to say. It can be a sudden, surprising development that's positive regarding pet. Working from home, debts and home, karmic breakage, relationship breakages and fractures connected to home, an unexpected work opportunity coming through connected to home or homeland. Anyway, it's positive, it's surprising, and it gets more intense as time goes on because Mars from the 21st of March to April 7th is with Saturn in a trine. Mars and Saturn are like working hard energy, getting things done, persevering. But Mars is in a secret house and it's connected to finances, separation of spousal assets, resources that are connected to business partnerships, investment monies, retirement funds and investment portfolios, to credit cards and mortgages and banking and loans. And so Mars is working really hard on your behalf. He's in direct motion with Saturn in the fourth house, indicating the possibility between about the 21st of March and the 7th of April of an unexpected, surprising opportunity to rent a property, to lease a property as a tenant, to be a landlord and lease a property out, to change your financing regarding land and real estate and property. And spousal separation of assets and positive developments, but working hard to accomplish the agreements you need around that stuff, the 21st of March to the 7th of April. Now, what about that eclipse, guys? Okay, this is a last eclipse in Aries. This is important for you because it's a house of sex, love, and romance. You had eclipses here in the April of 23, April of North Node eclipse, April 24. This eclipse isn't just about your sex life, although it can be eclipsing a relationship. It's a solar eclipse, means an end of a relationship. So an end of a romantic relationship, a sexual relationship is definitely a possibility, a big change in your entrepreneurial business structures, a big creative artistic change of direction. Those are all possible reasons for this eclipse. This eclipse, though, with the node and Rahu, the node in the fourth house, could be a love life relationship beginning or ending, leads to a change of home. In the 10 months to a year that follows the eclipse, although you may understand more directly up to a month before and 6 months after what the hell this eclipse is doing. But if you have not changed your home, and the North Node can do that in 18 months, so starting in January 26 to summer of January 25 to July of 26, you're looking at a change of home, increase home, expand home, destined change of home, home to a foreign shore. But it is this eclipse in the fifth house with the node of fate in the fourth that says if you're having changes of home, it could connect to children, your children, it could connect to your romantic lover or entrepreneurial business matters. But there may be a connection between the solar eclipse of March 29th and the changing of a home in the year that follows that eclipse. Okay. I hope that's useful. I hope that you can make use of the sky, Sagittarius. Don't forget, in my description box below the video, hit the more button under the title. You could join my Patreon community, 3 classes a month. You could, or early access ad free for all my YouTube videos. You could join my Substack, and I'm writing all about Pluto, what he's doing in the sky over Aquarius. And it's really a deep dive into Pluto, but I do all signs delineations and monthly reports and all of that, and weekly audio forecasts that focus on the Pluto themes. And it's very affordable, $7 a month. But, otherwise, you can just like and subscribe to this channel and come join me in the Venus retrograde journey. I think it's like a once every 8-year opportunity to be in this kind of environment with me pertaining to this part of your sky. I might start doing Venus classes on the regular. There's reasons that I haven't done them before. Because I use them for my own needs and means. But right now, it's something that I've been journeying through for the last 6 years consciously, is the Venus retrograde cycles, and I'd like to use that with my students as well. And I credit Ariel Gutman, who is an incredible astrologer who wrote Venus Star Rising, for being one of my sources of inspiration about this process of the Venus narrative narrative in life. And a couple other astrologers who also work with Venus, including Gary Caton and Louise Eddington, have also inspired me to also go further into this my very self. So I hope that makes some sense to you. As an astrologer, there's no part of the astrology sky that I'm not interested in. So I hope to see you in class. Bye, everyone. Ciao, ciao.